third abiotic component, which is soil. Soil is the topmost layer of the earth's crust. All life on earth depends on the soil because it provides a medium for the growth of plants. Plants growing on land get water and minerals from the soil. Soil is also home to a variety of living organisms such as bacteria, fungi, worms and insects. These organisms keep adding minerals and nutrients to the soil and enrich it. So soil get enriched on its own, but the potted soil that we have at our gardens in our home, those cannot replenish the lost nutrients on their own. That is why we need to add fertilizers from time to time. Okay. So these are the abiotic components. Next we are going to the climatic factors, which also fall under the different abiotic components, but there is a separate category under the abiotic components, which are the climatic factors. Here we will talk about first, which is sunlight. Sunlight is very, very important. Everybody knows that. The sun is the primary source of light and energy on earth. It affects plants and animals' activities in a number of ways. For example, green plants make food in the presence of sunlight. Light influences the closing and opening of stomata, germination of seeds and so on. The amount of sunlight in a particular area has a direct influence on the types of plants and animals found there. The intensity of the light also influences the behavior of the animals. Most animals that you see around you are active during the day, as they can tolerate bright light, but there are certain animals like owl, bat, they cannot stand or they cannot tolerate intense or bright light, and thus they stay in at their homes during the day or sleep during the day, and they become active at night. Those animals are known as nocturnal animals, while the others which are active at a day are known as diurnal animals. Okay. Next we will talk about temperature. Temperature. So let's read from the book. Living organisms can generally survive temperatures between 0 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius. Most of them have a specific range of temperature in which they can live comfortably. The distribution of animals and plants over the earth depends on temperature. Thus, the tropical region that has temperatures exceeding 18 degrees Celsius supports a large variety of plant and animal life. Regions with extreme climates show lesser variety of organisms, though they all show specific adaptations to suit their climate. Okay, so the most important thing from this one that you need to remember is that living organisms can generally survive between temperature 0 to 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, next we will talk about humidity. Okay. It is the amount of water vapor in the air. Water vapor is the gaseous state of water. Humidity is affected by wind and rainfall. Humidity affects the temperature in an area. High humidity reduces the rate of evaporation of water. Okay, so from humidity it is not that important. No such important information is giving under this topic of humidity. You might just give it a good read, but nothing important is in here. Next one is wind. The movement of air, called wind, helps in the pollination of flowers and dispersal of seeds and fruits. Pulses and grains dry up faster when there is wind. The evaporation of sweat is faster when there is a breeze blowing. This makes us feel cooler. Wind also helps in dispersing pollution. The word disperse means to means move away. Okay, so it helps in dispersal of seeds and fruits, and that is how pollination will take place. And it also helps in dispersing pollution, that is to move away or clear up pollution. Okay, when smoke and other pollutants are not dispersed due to the lack of wind, they form smog in the atmosphere. Wind also plays a major role in the distribution of rainfall over an area. Why is this? Because wind helps to move away the clouds from one region to a different region, and when there is excess amount of clouds there, rainfall will take place at that region. Okay, so I hope all the abiotic components are clear to you all. Next I am going to talk about the cultural components. Okay, so what are the cultural components? Let's read. Human activities have a great impact on the environment. You do not live in the same natural environment that existed a few decades or centuries ago. This is because human beings have modified it to suit their needs. New inventions have made life more comfortable, but at the same time, they have impacted the environment negatively. So, this can be an example, means I can give an example here that new inventions such as air conditioners have our these ACs are now there in almost everybody's home, but the gas that is released from this machine, which is known as CFC or the chlorofluorocarbon, is very harmful for the atmosphere. Okay, you know how water, air and land are getting polluted because of various human activities. You are not only getting affected physically but mentally as well. The influence of human activities on the environment constitutes its cultural component. Okay, so this is about the cultural components of an ecosystem. I hope you have understood everything.